I can't wait to show you my toys. Wait, that wasn't in the movie. Well, how about when he had the grenade and his face was ready and bye-bye? Also not in the movie. Well, let's talk about what was in the movie, shall we? What's happening, my film nerds? David the Film Junkie here, bringing you my spoiler review of Suicide Squad. That's right, if you haven't watched my regular review, it is on my channel. Go check it out if you haven't watched Suicide Squad yet. Hopefully you did, because that's what we're going to talk about. I saw it again on Sunday, woke up early, went and saw it, went with a buddy of mine. He liked the movie. I liked it even more, because obviously the second time is always a better time, and you get to catch more shit, and I'm not going to go over like scene by scene, because a lot of things are all over the place. I'm just going to go over some of the spoilery stuff. I think my favorite thing about this movie is just simply the characters and the introduction of the characters and the characters coming together, because David Ayer did a really good job at doing this, and I was really hoping we were going to get that, like freeze frame, stats, and just like little funny sayings or something, and I'm so glad that he did it like that. Of course, the way it starts off, you get a backstory of Deadshot right at first, and then Harley Quinn, just like a brief one, and then you get more of a backstory as Amanda Waller is explaining who she wants for Task Force X for these government guys. And I really like that about this movie, and I liked just the characters. That's what really drives this movie, is the characters and actors playing the characters. Will Smith is Deadshot. Everybody's loving him. I actually did a little poll, and it seems like everybody's liking him more than Harley. I would say Harley's the reigning champion of who just... She just makes me feel happy. But I like Deadshot's backstory. They show him doing his thing. His Deadshot thing is on top of a building, about to murder somebody, and he's calling up the guy who hired him. No money in his account, so he does it. It's a pretty cool little scene, but then we get more of a backstory when he's walking with his daughter, and then we get that Batman cameo, or one of the Batman cameos, I should say. Now, this scene should just be full-on, just, throbbing. But I must say, it's not all that throbbing for me. It just got weird in this video. No, the reason why I didn't super nerd out on this, even though it's like, oh, Batman and Deadshot are in a scene together. Holy shit. The reason why I'm not, because it's Floyd Lawton and Batman in the scene together. It's not Deadshot. When I think a lot of people thought this way too, when we heard that Deadshot and Batman have a scene together, and it was a pretty intense scene, we're thinking, oh shit, we're going to see Deadshot and Batman go at it, maybe like a cool little action sequence. And it would have been nice to have something like that, like if Deadshot was working and Batman intervened and that's how he gets him. It just would have been a little better than this dramatic scene that happened in this alleyway with his kid and a gun, and everything sounding a little too familiar here, Bats. Were you just standing there going, oh my god, what am I doing? Just seemed a little bit, why would Batman go after him when he's with his daughter? But it's okay, it still was a good scene. Backstory with Joker and Harley, I wish they would have tackled a little bit more, and yes, there was like whole scenes that were cut out. You saw little brief moments of it, especially one where she chases down the Joker in the Joker car on like a motorbike, and then there's like a whole exchange and everything. I wanted to see more of him wooing her, like just a conglomerate of scenes of him just like wooing her. It was already like established that she was already smitten, and then he requests a machine gun, and then everything goes to shit. A little disappointing, because I thought the straitjacket scene was going to be like an excellent scene, just exchanging, and he was just going to be cryptic and weird as she was like answering or asking questions. I just thought that was going to be that kind of scene, but it was really brief and kind of disappointing. Then you got date night. Joker and Harley are out. Batman intervenes, which was like, oh my god, it's happening. Another version of Batman chasing the Joker, and I was really hoping there was going to be like a face-to-face or something. Sadly, no pleasing the fans with that one. However, it did feel very much like, oh, it's like Batman the Animated Series. You got Batman on top of the car. Joker's like, screw it, let me just dive off a freaking dock here, and Batman does his little flying thing, goes underneath, something happens to the Joker, and then of course Harley Quinn's like, she looks like she's like unconscious, but then she tries to stab him, then Batman just pop! And people got enraged by that. Did anybody get enraged by Mad Max Fury Road? Because Charlize Theron was getting punched like crazy, but no one gave a fuck, but they're giving a fuck about this now. Does nobody want equality? I guess not. No, everybody in the theater laughed because it was a pretty funny movie. You just didn't expect that. She's like, and he just, bah! I mean, why not? And then there's people getting like crazy, like when he gives her mouth to mouth, it looks like he's just intimately kissing her. I'm like, no, idiots! These are the people that just don't know the characters at all. Batman wouldn't do that, and Harley, she was playing like she was a dead fish. She's the one that started kissing him. Stop criticizing with your fucking PC shit. So we get more in-depth backstory with them, but we also get Captain Boomerang's backstory, which we get another little cameo from The Flash. So awesome just seeing Ezra Miller right up there, just, and he's just like, no honor amongst thieves, huh? And then just, that gave me that Flash boner. It's just great to see Ezra Miller in the suit on the big screen. It just was totally, that was like, hey, don't worry guys, look at how big the universe is getting. And it feels like it now. It's like, oh man, Justice League's next, or well, after Wonder Woman, but still. And you get backstories from the other ones too, not as much. I mean, you get more of El Diablo than, say, Killer Croc. You get a little bit of Killer Croc. One scene in particular that I liked from Croc was when Rick Flag was outside his cell, and Croc just walks up, just doing his thing. And then Croc asks if he's scared. Because Rick Flag is just like standing, he's just leaned up, he's just looking at him. And Killer Croc's like, aren't you scared or something like that? And Flag is like, no. Because Croc is so used to everybody being frightened of him, He's born with this crippling disease and all he's been is a bad guy and just been the muscle for various gangsters and bad guys in Gotham. And now he's got this dude that's standing out there and he's not flinching at all. He's not used to that. I really like that characterization right there. Enchantress was cool, like the scene in the Pentagon where she turns into Enchantress, the hand just flips over and it pans up. Very beautifully shot. It's just when Enchantress turns into brighter looking, not so dirty Enchantress, where I just was like, fuck this. And she didn't need the heart. It's like Amanda Waller had the heart. She got all pissed at, when she bolted when they were trying to get Enchantress's brother who was stuck in like a little thingy and ends up turning into a very disposable villain. She stabs the heart, but it just didn't do anything. And the brother just said, oh, don't worry, I got you. I'll use my powers to make you prettier and have the devil's voice. And you're going to be making a machine and doing your hula hoop dance. I was with Enchantress up to that point. As soon as she turned to that and the heart thing didn't work, I was like, okay, yeah, terrible villain. I'm going to do a video about certain ways I would have did the story, like I did with Batman vs. Superman, how, like I said, I could have kept the narrative and everything. I'm going to do a video like that, so be on the lookout for that because, yes, I figured out a way, Joker could have been more of a villain to this story without them really taking away from the story, as well as just, a way I would have structured the story, too. I'm very keen on the whole, unlinear process, the Tarantino shit where you show something in the beginning and then go back to it. I just really like that, and they could have applied something like that with here, but I'll do that in that video. I'll explain that later. Characters coming together, and then Deadshot doing his thing too, where they're testing him out. That was one of the best scenes of the movie. The characters coming together, really good scene. I just loved it when the characters were together. Like that bar scene that when they go into that bar and they're having a drink and they're all bullshit and talking about. That was probably the best scene of the movie. I thought I wanted more of that scene, and apparently there was. Because we saw stuff in the trailer that was not in the fucking movie. I love Diablo's backstory when he shows his wife and his kids and the fact that he ended up killing his kids because he has anger issues with this power. So that's why it was kind of cool to see, at first he was just really reluctant to just do anything. Even when he was in that tube and they were showing the footage where he just wiped out everybody on the prison lawn. And he was like, that's not me. And he just all bye. That was I just really liked I was surprised. I really was surprised. And then to finally come out of his shell, because Deadshot got him to fucking do his shit. He finally comes out of it and then he saves the day. He turns into the demon that he has within and ends up helping to destroy the bad Enchantress. Or not the bad Enchantress, we were talking about Incubus, her fucking brother, that dude. That was really cool that they did that. I did not think that, I knew Slipknot was going to die. It was obvious that he was, and he was real quick, but, disposable. They had to show that example. Joker scenes were cool, but it just felt like he didn't have, Leto didn't have time to breathe as Joker. Maybe he did with all the cutout scenes, who knows. I like the part where they flash back to when she falls into the chemicals. That was a creepily touching moment, because he's all, would you die for me? And then he's all, no, would you live for me? And it's just, there was something very cryptic about it, but also just wow, there's a love here. And then, of course, he just was going to walk away, but then he realizes he does love her, so he jumps into the chemicals as well. And he's holding on to her and doing his laugh. That was just a really cool, creepy moment. The bad guys were kind of dumb too, with the whatever the fuck that was. I don't know, but it just made it where it's okay, we could just cut their heads off. They would just be like Ash, no blood, no nothing. Keep it PG-13. Yeah, it was cool, especially cool when Deadshot was doing his thing and just wiping everybody out. That was a cool sequence. I think what was really cool though, I forgot to mention this when they showed Deadshot, his stats and everything. They did that Alex Ross thing where he's all holding the gun and the bullets are raining down. Oh! And then, of course, you get Harley and Joker dancing. She's got the Jester costume on, and they totally pulled it from there too. So David Ayer, that was a fan service right there, folks. Fan service. I like the little twistiness that oh, okay, we're trying to get this one guy, we're trying to save this one guy, and it ends up being Amanda Waller. That was kind of cool. And you know, a lot of people would beg to say that she's like the main villain of the movie, which she is. She's one of the villains. She's not the main villain. It is Enchantress, but she definitely is a villain to them because she just doesn't let loose. Even though it's like, okay, you were hanging upside down, wrapped in all this shit, everything blew up, and you're okay. You just showed up with your cell phone, like, ready to blow somebody's head off. Yeah, that was a little strange. That's just part of that really sloppy third act, where it was just like, okay, that. And then there was, like, that moment, too, where Harley was, like, in the elevator, and she just kicked a lot of ass, which was kind of cool, but it just seemed like, I wonder if that was another scene that they decided to shoot in there. Who knows? And then they also cut out more Joker. Like, he's in the helicopter, it crashes, and we saw in the trailer that we see him in that suit, with partly burnt with, like, a grenade. So apparently he does show up again, but they just decided not to do that and just, oh yeah, he died, and Harley's now back with everybody else, and I did not really like that. Did not really like that at all. Could have been a better way, folks, but it was kind of cool at the end, of course. You knew that was going to happen. All of a sudden, Joker shows up in SWAT gear to rescue his beloved Harley, and now we're waiting to see if that Harley spin-off movie is going to be greenlit. Could you imagine a Joker and Harley movie? That would be like Natural Born Killers on acid. So naturally, they saved the day. The only people lost was Slipknot, who gives a shit, and Diablo. You never know. Maybe he'll come back. People tend to not stay dead forever because we know one person's coming back, right? The mid-credit scene was just all full of Bruce and Amanda, and it was like, oh my god, they're talking, and then he's asking for top secret shit, and then he opens it up, you see Barry's picture, then you see Arthur Curry, and oh man, it's great. You'll see Enchantress too. Some people were confused by that. It's like, is she gonna be part of the Justice League? I'm like, no. God, I fucking hope not. Even though June Moon's still alive, I kind of wish that she just would have stayed dead too, just to add to more of the dramatic of the story. It would have made it a little better, but, you know, she just came out of that little thing, and she was perfectly okay. So does that mean Enchantress is dead for good? Probably not. So overall, I like the movie, especially the second time around. It's a lot of fun. What really drives it, though, is the characters. The times with the characters. I mean, I even loved Captain Boomerang. Like I said, Jai Courtney didn't annoy the shit out of me for once. And I just like the camaraderie and the chemistry that they had, especially that bar scene. It's just shit like that that just really, I don't know, adds a lot of life to these characters. I mean, even Katana was part of it, and she didn't have much development. She didn't say much, but she still was a badass, and she still was part of that little group right there. I mean, she was the last one to walk into the bar. Well, actually, Rick Flag was, but just the fact that she was like, fuck this, I'm going to go with them. And it was just kind of great. It was kind of great, even though she's like, I'm not a thief, you know, because he's like, honor amongst thieves, right? You know, when they were doing the cheers thing, and she was like, I'm not a thief. And that was kind of cool. Like, even though she's with them, she's like, I'm still a good guy, kinda. So overall, I liked the movie. Didn't love it because the Enchantress stuff and the ending was just so cliche, and just as soon as she turned into a brighter Enchantress, I just lost all interest in her. And I'm telling you, they could have made the Joker more pivotal to this story, and I will do a video on how they could have done that. And I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, we didn't need the Joker that much. He was in there perfectly." Yeah, that's fine. He was in a good amount because he's not part of the Suicide Squad. He's just part of Harley's backstory, really. But still, if you're gonna market it with a lot of Joker in it, you might as well put a lot of Joker in it. But I'll wait and tell you guys in that video, okay? So that's my spoiler review of Suicide Squad. Just a lot of fun, you know. DCU's still running strong and made a lot of money, so we're still, even though a lot of people didn't like it, it's so weird how some people just fucking hate these movies. There's some people that love these movies. It's nuts how these movies have gotten. But anyways, let me know your thoughts about it all. What was your favorite part of the whole movie? This is a spoiler review, so reveal everything and anything, and I probably missed some shit, whatever. But let me know your favorite part of Suicide Squad down below in the balls area, and I'll talk to you guys later. Oh, it's hot. Just thought I'd let you know that. All right, bye. And thank you for watching, you beautiful people. You go ahead and hit that like, thumbs up button if you'd be so kind. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Subscribe to my other channel too. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and visit filmjunkie.com for all my videos.